So in the Parsha, there's a lot of great stories, and there's this one of my favorite little stories in the Torah about Pesach Sheni, which I used one year with Heather early on in our relationship to try and overcome not buying a birthday gift or not buying an anniversary, something, where I quoted the Torah and a special exception rule. And the deal is that in the Parsha, in the time of the Torah, it's been a year since they all left Egypt. So it's the first anniversary of the Exodus, which makes this the second Pesach ever, but the first Pesach now that it's a holiday as opposed to the first one. Right? Sometimes when you're doing something for the first time, you don't know it becomes a tradition. Now you know it's a tradition because they're establishing it intentionally as a tradition. And it's a very, very big deal, right? It's the first holiday for these people. It's been a year. It marks this occasion. It's a big deal. And there were rules when they got the Torah and all this stuff earlier at Sinai. One of those rules was that you were defiled by a corpse, by ritual impurity. Remember, Leviticus has a lot of stuff on impurity. And if you're close to a corpse and haven't had the proper time to cleanse yourself, like if it just happened that day, you cannot partake from the Pesach sacrifice. If you're ritually impure, you can't partake. So at the time, right, there's this rule. Moses says this one's from God, and we're going to do a Pesach, our first Pesach in the wilderness. And a bunch of people who were ritually impure, not their fault, right? It happens. Come to him and they're in a panic. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And I've taught bar mitzvah kids about this before. I've talked about it before, and it's always been a metaphor for second chances because you do it on the next month on exactly the same day. And it's the only holiday that gets it, something like this, so it tells you something about Pesach and what it symbolizes and how important that is and how it's about second chances and all this sort of thing. There's a lot of great takes over the years from Pesach Sheni. But I was reading it again for this week, and I was struck by something that I never really thought about before. The fact that these people, they rush over to Moses and they're in a panic. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And it says, and Moses tells them, hang tight. I got to go talk to God. My guess is Moses could have figured it out on his own and probably knew the answer. And he probably knew it right away. But he didn't give them an answer right away. That's why I joked before about saying things in the spur of the moment, because especially over the pandemic, for example, with bar and bat mitzvah families, new restrictions come out, they're on the phone calling me the second that they come out. One time we were doing a Kabbalat Shabbat, there was a 6 o'clock press conference here in Manitoba. Very strange to do it at that time on a Friday, and people were messaging me, and Kabbalat Shabbat, it's crazy. I'm not responding to them on Shabbat. I'm not going to do that. The point is, what rings in my ear, everyone now, with Instagram and Twitter and wanting to get the reactions out there right away. Something happens, get the reaction out there. Something happens, get the reaction out there. I'm a minority for my kind of age group and not really thinking that that's so hot, but because you can just see the proof is there. Someone thinks something, thoughts out there. Someone has a baby before they're back in the hospital room. Picture on Instagram. I'm not kidding. So I can imagine that if Moses lived in this time and that happened, and someone came to him and said, the restrictions are out, what does this mean for us? They would be expecting an answer on the spot, and he would probably be thinking he should give one. But he didn't. And people coming into him in a panic about Passover, it's the same sort of thing. And even if he knew the answer, which I give him credit. I think he would have figured it out. I think he would have known. I think on a lot of other things he didn't have to go back and ask God, but he specifically tells him he's going to go and ask God, which of course is important because now they know the source and they know it's not Moses. They know it's God. They know it's clear. There's other things like that. But I think it was also, I think the lesson there is that you take a little bit of time, right? We react so quickly to so many things with every family, with every step along the way, with every wedding couple. There's no way we need an answer right away. Let's get more information. Let's make sure we're right. There's this phrase, I know I don't invent it, but it's catchy and it's great. Don't worry so much about being first. Worry so much about being right. And so that's what Moses did. Hang on, everybody. I'm going to go talk to God. Went and talked to God, got the answer, came back to them. And I don't think he ran to God. I don't think he busted out of the room and ran to God. I think he took his time. Later that day, next time, waited till the next time he was going to talk to God. Maybe it was a week later. Torah doesn't tell us. But I don't think it was like, People rushed to Moses. Moses ran out of the room. Moses called to God. God gave the answer. He ran back in. 15 minutes and they knew. Sometimes you got to give it time. Like, how is he supposed to know on the spot when they ask him this question that he doesn't see coming? Sometimes you need to take some time. Actually, all the time you need to take some time. And sure, there will be moments in life where you have to react on the spot, sure. But most of the time, we can take a little time. Be right. Don't be first.